Well, kind of the perfect storm, right? But yeah, 4 turnovers. A couple of situations where we looked like we were going to have the ball secured and we didn't. And then I believe probably 3 or 4 overhelps, which led to the 5 threes, right? When you have the lead like that, particularly in the fourth, you don't want to give up threes and you don't want to give up and ones. And unfortunately, they kept finding the 3 ball on us and making the extra pass. So got to give them a lot of credit. There's a lot of guys. It's been a lot of big games over there. And, I thought our guys continued to battle, going from a 10-point deficit to being up 16. Obviously, turnovers were a thing for us. They did some good things out there, and I thought we tried to, keep the momentum and find Bryce and, make some big shots and some big plays. And, we got a wide open shot right there at the end. And, knowing that they had fouls to give, and we were trying to run that play and if you're open to take it, didn't expect to quite be that open, to be honest with you. Bryce was probably a little shocked on that one, and even had an offensive rebound, but just can't get it to go in. So, it's a hard one. We did a lot of really good things, and unfortunately, to give up 31 in the fourth is not going to be the recipe for a win.
Just back to that point you touched on, for Bryce to get such a good open look, and then Flynn to get the overboard and a chance to go up here, 2 of your best players. So it's almost as if the basketball ball's put on inside there.
Yeah, we've won a lot of big games up here, and that their backs are against the wall a little bit. There's a lot of championship DNA running through those veins over there. You knew that you were going to have to play a full 40 minutes, and unfortunately, we just came up a little bit short, right? And we'll have to kind of regroup and refill our cup and, get ready for a team down there in United that's been sitting there waiting on us.
You've done so well to be first for so long, since December 7. That loss sees you slip to second. How much of a psychological blow, if at all, is that one?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. I've said this before. I mean, this is our adversity, right? We've kind of had a heck of a season where we've been fortunate to, play well for long stretches and to avoid injuries. And, everybody has it in a hard-playing league like this. That everybody. You're just going to have your ups and downs. It seems like, ours is coming here at the end, and some people are trying to, extend their season. And, we're all jockeying for a playoff positioning and home court and, all these different things. I'm super proud of my group. They've been a hell of a group to coach. We stayed in the fight. We were communicating the right way. I thought we were organized. We knew that we needed to kind of find Bryce and let him quarterback some things, and I thought Z and Flynn handled a lot of the pressure, and I think Nick and Isaac Humphreys were outstanding too. I think they both had 14 points and a lot of rolls and big finishes, and to hold JaVale to shoot what was he had 8 points and 14 rebounds. He's a big guy in there, and we really did a lot of great things. A few turnovers and the overhelps in the fourth.
You spoke really well pre-game about the off-field noise this week. What do you expect to happen to that after defeat tonight?
Well, it'll probably get louder, right? I mean, it's part of it. I think as the head coach, right, you kind of have to shoulder all that, and that's what leadership is, and you try to get the guys focused on what's next now. That one stings. There's no other way to put it. That one stings a little bit. We led for a long time, and you just want to get the thing over the line. But, you got to make one more play, and we had 2 really good looks right there to make one play, and the ball didn't bounce our way. And we've got to move on, and you got to move on quickly, and we've got to kind of crunch this up and use it as fuel, as Coach Popovich used to say in San Antonio with us. We've got to use the sting of this to be our fuel to kind of drive us on Saturday night, which will be a very, very difficult game there at United.
Coach, it seemed like every time
Yeah, well, a couple of things, right? But the three ball kept them in it, right? The three ball, they had some guys that made some veteran plays, like the baseline out where they just tip it back to Davo and he lays it in, and Hickey makes a big shot, and they move it around just enough, and they had they had a little poise on it, right? And we were trying to really stay in the fight and do some good things, and literally it comes down to one offensive rebound, which is you just got to get that rebound, right? You got to get that rebound in that situation, and then you get a wide open look and you get a wide open tip. So all the plays individually, I'd have to go back and I can give you bits and pieces of it. But obviously, turnovers and threes are going to be the difference, and you can't give up 41 in the fourth. When it starts turning into a time and score game, the only way that they can make their comeback is for three-point plays. And unfortunately, that's what they got. You give them credit. They made that extra pass, and guys made big shot after big shot.
What gives you confidence that five losses in 7 games, it's easy to compound all of those losses?
Yeah.
And then react based on that. How confident are you in this team to be able to sort of look at this loss in the back and learn from it and move on quickly?
Yeah, well, we've had a great group the whole year, but we've been away from home for a while, and we've been out here, and we've played some really, really good teams, and I give everybody a lot of credit, and we've fought. We've really fought on a lot of different games, except, I would say that maybe the 2 versus Southeast weren't exactly how we wanted them to be, right? But we've been right there. It comes down to one possession. You win the one in New Zealand on a possession. You lose this one tonight. It sort of always evens up some way. The basketball gods usually tend to get it back to where it needs to be. And, we had the ball bounce a lot our way this year. And we've had a lot of gritty wins, and the group's got to just stay together and believe that if we do the right things and we keep connecting and we get one more rebound, that the ball's going to, end up in our hands and we'll get the win.
There's points of the half, 18 apiece. Second half, Hawks run away with it. It's 23-7. Are you happy with that output, or do you want more from the bench guys?
Well, obviously it wouldn't be, but they had some guys that made a bunch of big shots, right? I'd have to kind of look at that a little bit more, to be honest with you, but, that's because of the 3-ball. That's what that is. And I think Frawling had a really good impact on the game right there in the post. They did a few things where, you had to play them a little bit one-on-one because they started shooting the 3 on us down there. And, we haven't played against Sam in a little while. And he got to a few things on us, and you give him credit for getting him the ball. And, JaVale takes a lot of your attention. And, when you focus on those centers, those guys are willing to be passers. It is going to put you in rotations, and you want to be in rotations and not scramble situations. And, they made the extra pass and made the shot.